In this lesson, we are going to learn how to evaluate exponents, what exponents are, and we are going to learn about the order of operations. We are working in section 0.5 out of your textbook. That's pages 48 and 49, and we're going to work problem numbers 2 through 76 even. So let's start off with exponents. The directions here tell us to use exponential notation to write each expression. Well, this right here is what we call expanded form. We've written out what looks to be 7 2's all next to each other, and they're all being multiplied. But there's a shorter way we can write this using exponents. What we would do is write our base, which is that number that's written multiplied by itself multiple times. So 2 is considered our base, and then you count how many 2's are being multiplied. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we would write our exponent as a 7. That exponent would always be just a tiny number up here. And what that means is we would write 2 times itself 7 times if we wanted to evaluate, which is what this means. Again, this right here is called the expanded form. And this right here is called exponential form. Okay? So now let's look at problem number 4. Again, we write our base, which is a 10, and then we write how many times they wrote 10 multiplied by itself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that would be a 10 to the 5th power. For number 6, our base is 5, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 5's. And there we go. Now number 8, they got a little tricky on number 8 because they added that negative in there. So we have -4 for our base, and we do have to have those parentheses in there. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. Okay, so that's written in exponential form. So -4 in parentheses raised to the 4th power means -4 times -4 times -4 times -4. But what if we did not write the parentheses? I'm going to do this in red because this is what is wrong, so I don't want you guys to get confused. So if I were to have written this right here, well, that would mean that I am only raising this 4 to the 4th power. This negative is not included. So what you would end up doing is just bringing that negative down and then writing 4 times itself 4 times. That's how those parentheses make a difference. Because if you notice, negative times a negative is a positive. The positive times a negative is a negative. Negative times a negative is a positive. So this right here would give us a positive result. And this negative right here multiplied by all positives would give us a negative result. So these would be positive, these would be negative. That's how that would be wrong. So make sure you include those parentheses in there. Okay, so now we're going to talk about evaluating expressions. So on number 10, I have 2 raised to the 3rd power, which means we have 2 times 2 times 2. Remember, we've talked about that expanded form. So that's what that is. And then we evaluate. So we can multiply these 2's first. So 2 times 2 is going to give us a 4. And I'm just going to bring that 2 down. So 4 times that 2 is 8. That is how you evaluate an exponential problem. Problem number 12. I have 2 to the 5th power, which means I have 2 times itself 5 times. So I'm going to multiply these two. So 2 times 2 is going to give me 4. And then I can multiply these two. 2 times 2 gives me, again, 4. And then I'm going to bring this 2 down. It didn't have anything to multiply by. So now I'm going to multiply these two 4s to get 16. And we're going to have to bring that 2 down again. And then 16 times 2 is 32. So 32 would be our answer for number 12, 2 to the 5th power. All right, problem number 14. I have 3 to the 5th power. So 3 times itself 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 3 times 3 is 9. Again, 3 times 3 is 9 there as well. And then we're going to bring down that last 3. So 9 times 9 is 81. And then 81 times 3 is 243. All right, problem number 16 says I have 4 raised to the 4th power. So that 4 times 4 is 16. That 4 times 4 is going to give me 16. And then we have to multiply 16 and 16. So to multiply these together, 6 times 6 is 36. And then 6 times 1 is 6, plus 3 is 9. Then when you go down here, you add your 0. 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1. Now we add those together to get 256. So 256 would be our final answer for problem number 16. So now let's look at problem number 18. On 18 we have -5 and we're squaring that. So that would be -5 times -5. Well, a negative times a negative is going to give us a positive, and 5 times 5 is 25. Number 20, -3 raised to the 4th power. So I get -3 times itself 4 times. So -3 times -3 is +9. Again, -3 times -3 is +9. And then 9 times 9 is 81. Problem number 22, I have the opposite of -6 raised to the 4th power. So they're getting very tricky on us here. For the moment, let's not worry so much about this negative in front. We're going to circle it big so we don't forget about it. And we're going to evaluate -6 to the 4th power. So -6 times -6 is 36. And again, -6 times -6 is 36. So now we multiply 36 together times 36. So that's 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 3 is 18. Plus 3 is 21. You add your 0. 3 times 6 is 18. And 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. So now we add. And we get 1,296. But they're asking us for the opposite of -6 to the 4th power. So the opposite of 1,296 is -1,296. All right, problem 24. On problem 24, we have 10 squared, which means 10 times 10, which is 100. And that's it for that. So now we're going to start learning about the order of operations. So our order of operations, you may have heard it in a couple of different ways. Okay, let me go ahead and write this up here. Okay, so you might have heard it as Pemdas, or you might have heard it as please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. There's a couple of different ways. You might hear me call it both ways, but what these stand for, the P stands for parentheses, the E stands for exponents, the M stands for multiplication, the D stands for division, A stands for addition, S stands for subtraction. So your order of operations tell you what order you evaluate an expression if it has multiple operations. So let's check out problem number 28. On problem 28, we have 2 times 4 raised to the 3rd power. So we have two operations here. We have multiplication and we have exponents. Well, you've got to look which one comes first, the M or the E. And when we look at our order of operations, the E is going to come first. So, oh, hold on, sorry about that. But there's also parentheses. Sorry guys, it's a little early in the morning. So we've got the parentheses as well. So parentheses, multiplication, and exponents. So those parentheses are first. That's our first order. So we have to do whatever is inside of those parentheses first. So that would mean that the multiplication gets to jump in line in front of those exponents. So 2 times 4 is 8. And then we evaluate 8 to the 3rd power. So 8 times 8 is 64. Bring down this 8. 64 times 8. 64 times 8 is 512. So that would be our answer for problem number 28. So when we look at problem number 30, we have 3 times 4 squared. And I'm using that dot instead of the X for multiplication. We're going to start using variables here in the next unit, and I don't want to get you guys confused. So that dot right there is multiplication. So we have parentheses, we have multiplication, and we have exponents. Well, anytime you have parentheses, that's the very first thing that you're going to do is you're going to evaluate whatever is inside of those parentheses. So we're going to go ahead and take care of that 3 times 4, which gives us 12. and you just bring that squared down. And then you evaluate 12 squared, which means 12 times 12, which is 144. Now, before I turn the page, I want to explain something very quickly. You see that I have written these M and D next to each other and the A and S next to each other. The reason I did that is because when you get down and you have no more parentheses and no more exponents, you do your multiplication and division from left to right, whichever one comes first, from left to right. And then when you get down to addition and subtraction, you do the same thing. So it just depends on which one comes first when you're reading it as if it's a book. That's how you know which one to evaluate first. So we'll see a couple examples like that here in a little bit. So now let's look at number 32. On number 32, we have 5 plus 2 squared. So we have P, E, M, D, A, S, and I'll draw those arrows like we're used to seeing now. So we have parentheses, addition, and exponents. Remember, parentheses are always going to come first. So we're going to combine what's inside of those parentheses. So 5 plus 2 is 7. And then you bring that squared down. And 7 squared means 7 times 7, which is 49. So that would be our answer for problem number 32. 34 says that I have 3 times 2 raised to the 4th power. So work inside of your parentheses first. So 3 times 2 is 6. And you do 6 to the 4th power, because remember, we bring that exponent of 4 down. And if we look at our notes from problem number 22, we found that 6 raised to the 4th power is 1,296. Okay. Now let's look at problem number 36. I have 10 minus 4 times 2. Alright, so we have two operations here. We have subtraction and we have multiplication. So you have to look at your order of operations and say, well, which one comes first? Subtraction or multiplication? Well, M comes first. So we're going to have to do this part of the problem before we can work with that 10. So that is technically a -4 because that subtraction sign gives that 4 whatever sign it is. So that would be a -4 times 2, which is a -8. And then you bring down that 10. And then 10 minus 8 is 2. Let's look at number 38. 9 minus 5, and that's in parentheses, multiplied by 3. So even though multiplication comes before subtraction in our order of operations, we have to take care of what's in the parentheses first. So that's why we jumped up here where parentheses are, and that subtraction gets to go first. So 9 minus 5 is 4, and then bring down that 3. 4 times 3 is 12. Problem number 40 says I have 10 plus 20 divided by 5. Order of operations, we've got addition and division. So you can look at your chart. I'm not going to pull mine back down. Look at the chart that you wrote down and think to yourself which comes first, addition or division. Hopefully you said division. So we work 20 divided by 5 is 4. And then you bring down that 10. And then 10 plus 4 is 14. Problem 42 says I have 10 plus 20 in parentheses divided by 5. So notice that numbers 40 and 42 are very similar. The only difference is that they added parentheses around the 10 plus 20. So they're trying to show you that normally division should come before addition, but when you add in those parentheses in there, that changes everything. So now we combine the 10 plus 20 first because it's in parentheses, which gives me a 30. Bring down your divided by 5, and 30 divided by 5 is 6. Problem number 44, we have 48 divided by 8 minus 14 divided by 2. So 48 divided by 8 and 14 divided by 2. Those are both division, and then you have subtraction here. So you will notice when you look at your chart that division comes before subtraction. So we can go ahead and work this division out. So 48 divided by 8 is 6. Bring down that minus sign, because negative 14 divided by 2 is that negative 7. Then we have 6 minus 7. So remember, your rule for subtraction is keep, change, and then opposite, and use your adding rules. So when you're adding and your signs are different, you subtract them. So 7 minus 6 is 1. And you take the sign of whatever number was bigger, which is a 7. It was negative, so that means my answer is negative. Or you could have thought of it as it was 6 minus 7. So you could have thought of it as $6 in the bank. You withdraw 7. Well, you didn't have $7 to take out, so you are now owing the bank $1. Number 46 says we have 48 divided by 8 minus 4 divided by 2. So here we have to do our parentheses first. So I'm going to bring that 48 divided by down. 8 minus 4 is 4. And then bring down that divided by 2. So remember, you have to work your division in order from left to right. You might be tempted to do that 4 divided by 2 first because it would make those numbers that much smaller, and it's very easy. You know that would be 2, but you can't do that. You've got to work them from left to right. So 48 divided by 4 is 12. Bring down your divided by 2. 12 divided by 2 is 6. Problem 48 says I have 5 times 2 to the 3rd power. So we have multiplication and we have exponents. So by our order of operations, we take care of those exponents first. So 2 to the 3rd power is 8. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Bring down that 5. 5 times 8 is 40. Problem number 50. We have 5 times 2 raised to the third power. So we work what is in the parentheses first. So 5 times 2 is 10. Bring down your exponent of 3. And then 10 to the third power is 1,000. Okay? So now let's look at problem number 52. We have 3 times 2 to the fourth power minus 8. So we have multiplication, exponents, and subtraction. Well, exponents come first. So 2 to the fourth power, if you wrote that out, you would get 16, because you would multiply 2 times itself 4 times. And you bring the rest of the problem down. So now we multiply, because multiplication comes before subtraction. 3 times 16, which gives us 48. Bring down your minus 8. 48 minus 8 is 40. All right, moving on to problem number 54. We have 3 times 7 minus 3 squared. In case y'all didn't realize this, when you have a 3 right next to a set of parentheses, or any number next to a set of parentheses with nothing in between, that means it is multiplication. So now they're getting a lot fancier on us. We have 2 operations inside of the parentheses. Normally we're used to having one operation and being fine. Well, we have to apply the order of operations inside of a set of parentheses. So subtraction and exponents. So the exponents come first. Bring everything down, and then that's 3 squared is 9. Now 7 minus 9 will give us a -2. You've got $7 in the bank. You withdraw 9, which means that you owe the bank $2. You did not have enough money to take that whole $9 out. So then we multiply, because that number is right next to that set of parentheses. So 3 times -2 is -6. Now we're going to look at 56. Problem 56, we have 4 times 2 to the third power minus 15 times 6. Well, 2 to the third power is going to be evaluated first, because exponents comes before our multiplication and subtraction. So bring your 4 and your times down. 2 to the third power is 8. Bring down your minus 15 times 6. Now I can go ahead and multiply my 4 times 8 and my 15 times 6. So 4 times 8 is 32. And then that -15 times 6 is -90. Now 32 minus 90. And guys, I'm so sorry if y'all can hear the talking in the background. I'm in my office and people are talking out there, so I apologize. But I've got 32 minus 90. So let's say you have $32 in the bank and you go to the store and you spend $90. Well, you absolutely did not have enough money to cover that, so you would end up owing the bank $58. You did not have that much money to pull out, so that puts you in the negative, in the red. Okay, problem number 58 says that we have 3 times 2 to the third power minus 7 times 3. So we're going to evaluate what's inside of our parentheses first. So 3 times 2 is 6 raised to the third power. And then we're going to bring down our minus 7 times 3. And then 6 to the third power. We've already worked that problem before. 6 times 6 is 36. 36 times 6 is 216. Minus 7 times 3. Just keep bringing it down. And now we have negative 7 times 3. So bring your 216 down. Negative 7 times 3 is negative 21. And then we do 216 minus 21. So 6 minus 1 is 5. Got to borrow here. 11 minus 2 is 9. Then bring down that 1. So it gives us 195 for our answer for problem number 58. So now let's look at problem number 60. For problem number 60, we have 3 times the quantity 8 minus 4 squared. So we work what's in our parentheses first. So 8 minus 4 is 4. Bring down your squared, bring down your 3. So this can get a little confusing, but you have multiplication here and you have exponents here. If you look at that order of operations chart that we've written a couple of times, you know that exponents come first. Do not be tempted to multiply first. So you do 4 squared, which is 16. Bring down your 3. 3 times 16 is 48. So now looking at problem number 62, I have the quantity 3 times 8 minus 4 all squared. So we work our parentheses first, everything inside of those sets of parentheses. But notice that we have more than one operation in there. We have multiplication and we have subtraction. Well, multiplication comes first in that order of operations. So 3 times 8 is 24. Bring down your minus 4 and your squared. So 24 minus 4 is 20. Bring down your squared. And 20 squared is 400. Alright, let's look at problem number 64. Alright, 64 is a fun little doozy that might give you a mild stroke when you look at it, but it's really not that bad. My recommendation to you on these problems is work everything in the numerator, which is everything up here, then work everything down here, and then you'll see your problem is very, very simple. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we can actually work the bottom first because it'll be a lot faster. So I've got 2 plus 3 times 4. Well, 3 times 4 comes first on order of operations, so that gives us 12. And then 2 plus 12 is 14. So that's going to be our denominator that we're going to work with. So now let's talk about that numerator. I have 11 minus negative 9 plus 6 times 8 minus 2. Well, I have two sets of parentheses here, but this first set of parentheses is just a number. There's nothing I can do with that. So we leave that parentheses alone. And now we come over here, sorry about that, and we see our 8 minus 2. 8 minus 2 is 6. And we can bring everything else down. So now we work on our multiplication because we have subtraction, we have addition, and we have multiplication. So we're going to work this multiplication first, which gives us 36, and we bring everything else down. Now our order of operations tells us to work our addition and subtraction from left to right. So we've got 11 minus negative 9. Our rule for subtraction is keep, change, opposite. So that now is 11 plus 9, which is 20. Bring down your 36. 20 plus 36 is 56. So now we have 56 divided by 14, which gives us 4. So again, when you see one like this, that's a big old fraction, work everything in the top first, then everything in the bottom, and then just divide them. It's very simple if you can break it apart like that. All right, problem number 66 says I have 5 times 4 minus 2 to the third power. Well, I work my 2 to the third power first. That gives me 5 times 4 minus 8. Then you work your multiplication. So 5 times 4 is 20 minus 8, and 20 minus 8 is 12. Problem 68 says I have 8 plus 2 times 3 plus 3 squared. So I work what is in my parentheses first. So 3 plus 3 is 6. And then I've got addition, multiplication, and exponents. So my exponents come first. So 6 squared is 36. Bring down your 2 and your 8. Now I work my multiplication next. So 2 times 36 is 72. Bring down your 8. 8 plus 72 is 80. So now let's look at problem number 70. On number 70 we have 8 plus 2 times 3 plus 3 squared. So we work what's inside of our parentheses first, and we have to work the multiplication before the addition. So 2 times 3 is 6. Bring everything else down. And then we work what's left of our parentheses. So that's 6 plus 3 is 9. Bring down everything else. 9 squared is 81, which means 9 times 9, by the way. And then 8 plus 81 is 89. Now looking at problem number 72, we have 14 plus 3 times 9 minus 28 divided by 7 times 2. So we have addition, multiplication, subtraction, division, and then multiplication. So remember, if we write out our order of operations as here, remember we said multiplication and division are the order that they come in from left to right. So let's go ahead and do this step by step. So all we have is multiplication, division, and subtraction and addition. So do the multiplication and division first. So this is the first multiplication or division problem we come to. So 3 times 9 is 27. Bring everything else down. Now we're looking for our next multiplication or division problem. Well, 14 plus 27, nope. Minus 28, nope. But divided by 7. So it would be that negative 28 divided by 7, which gives us a negative 4. And bring down that times 2. Hopefully seeing that part of the problem cleared it up for you. You don't do all the multiplication first and then all of the division. You do multiplication and division from left to right, whichever one comes first. So now we're going to finish off with that negative 4 times 2. So bring everything else down. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. 14 plus 27 is 41. And then 41 minus 8 is 33. Now let's look at problem number 74. I have negative 12 minus 8 divided by 4 times 2. Again, this is going to help us out with that crazy rule with multiplication and division. So we work our multiplication and division from left to right in the order of whichever one comes first. So we're going to do that negative 8 divided by 4 first, which gives me negative 2. And bring everything else down. Now we work our negative 2 times 2, which is negative 4. Bring down your negative 12. And then you work your subtraction problem. You can either say, all right, I owe the bank $12 and I take $4 more from them. That would be negative 16. Or you can use the keep, change, opposite rule. Your adding and your signs are the same, so you add them together and keep the sign. Whichever way works best for you. Last problem, problem number 76. We have negative 8 plus 14 divided by 2 times 4 minus 3. Work our multiplication and division from left to right, since there is no parentheses or exponents. There are no. So 14 divided by 2 is what I come across first. So you bring down your negative 8. 14 divided by 2 is 7. Bring everything else down. Now we have one more multiplication or division, which is right here. 7 times 4 is 28. Now negative 8 plus 28 is 20. 20 minus 3 is 17. I hope this video has been beneficial to you, and I wish you the best of luck.